I still cannot look at amber light, even now. It has been 62 years since that night. But time, I have learned, does not heal all wounds. It merely covers them with a thin layer of scar tissue that tears open at the slightest touch. Sitting here in the safety of my study in Chicago, surrounded by the framed photographs of grandchildren who will never know the sound of a 20mm cannon, I am still a prisoner. They call amber the color of caution. To me, it is the color of betrayal. It is the color of a lie. That night was July 11th, 1943. Sicily. Operation Husky. I remember the cold. It defies logic, really. The Mediterranean night was hot and humid, a heavy, suffocating heat that stuck your wool shirt to your back like a second skin. The cockpit of the C-47 was a greenhouse, smelling of unwashed bodies, stale coffee, and hydraulic fluid. But I was freezing. It was a cold that started from the inside. It was the cold of the yoke in my hands, which felt like a block of ice. It was the chill that runs down your spine when you realize with a clarity sharper than any knife that the men shooting at you aren't speaking German. They aren't shouting, "Feuer." They are shouting in English. They are shouting with accents from Brooklyn, from Texas, from the cornfields of Ohio. They are shouting the names of their mothers and sweethearts as they pull the triggers that will end your life. We were flying Douglas C-47 Dakotas, Goonie birds, we called them. Ungainly, slow, reliable beasts. They handled like flying trucks, heavy on the controls, vibrating enough to loosen your fillings, but they could take a beating. We were carrying the boys of the 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment, part of the legendary 82nd Airborne Division, the toughest sons of bitches America had to offer. They sat behind me in the dark fuselage, 18 of them, weighed down by 100 pounds of gear, parachutes, reserves, M1 Garands, ammo belts. Their cigarettes glowed like swarms of fireflies in the gloom of the cargo hold. They trusted me. That is the burden that weighs heavier than any metal. They trusted that I, Captain Thomas Miller, would deliver them to the drop zone at Forello. They trusted me to navigate the treacherous winds off the coast. They trusted me to dodge the Luftwaffe night fighters. But that night, trust was the first casualty. Before the first bullet hit flesh, trust had already been murdered by panic. I can still hear the sound. Not the roar of the twin Wasp engines. You get used to that drone. It becomes the heartbeat of your existence. It's the sound of metal tearing through metal. The dull thump, thump, thump of 20mm Oerlikon shells punching through the thin aluminum floor plates. It sounded like a heavy, angry fist banging on a tin door, demanding entry. And worst of all, the radio. It wasn't just commands or tactical chatter. It was a chorus of ghosts. Good men, friends I'd played poker with that very morning, screaming as their wings dissolved into liquid fire. Memory is a cruel film editor. It never lets you fast forward the painful parts. It forces you to watch every frame in slow motion. But to understand why I haven't slept a full night in half a century, you have to see what I saw. Not from this quiet room, but from the cramped, vibrating cockpit of C-47 number 318, smelling of ozone and the electric scent of impending death. 22:30 hours, July 11th, 1943. The Malta Channel. The night sky over the Mediterranean is a void. Pitch black. no moon. It is the kind of darkness that feels solid, heavy, pressing against the plexiglass windows. It swallows the horizon, blurring the line between the black water and the black sky. A perfect darkness for hunters. At 500 feet, dangerously, suicidally low, a river of metal flows through the humid air. 144 C-47 Dakota transport planes are strung out in a massive, complex V of V's formation. From a distance, they would look like a migration of prehistoric birds, lumbering and determined. The drone of 288 Pratt & Whitney engines creates a low, vibrating tectonic rumble that shakes the sea below. It is the sound of an invasion force. In the cockpit of the lead plane of the third formation, Captain Tom Miller grips the yoke. His leather gloves are damp with sweat. His eyes are burning from strain, raw and red-rimmed. Holding 110 miles per hour, altitude 400, heading 270. Miller mutters his ritualistic chant. His eyes scan the instrument panel, the artificial horizon, the altimeter, the airspeed indicator, glowing in a faint, ghostly radium green. Beside him, Lieutenant Evans, a 22-year-old co-pilot from Ohio with a face full of freckles, fiddles nervously with the radio dial. He's trying to filter out the static that hisses like bacon frying. Seems too quiet, Tom, Evans whispers, his voice trembling slightly. Way too quiet for an invasion zone. Where are the Jerrys? Where are the searchlights? Miller doesn't answer immediately. He leans forward, trying to peer through the haze. Don't wish for them, Evans, Miller says, his voice tight. Just watch the interval. Keep us off the lead plane's tail. If we drift, we collide. If we climb, we die. Focus on the job. Below them lies the Allied fleet. It is a sleeping giant. Hundreds of warships, destroyers, cruisers, Liberty ships, are anchored off the coast of Gela, Sicily. These ships have just endured 24 hours of hell. The Luftwaffe has been pounding them relentlessly. Stukas and Ju-88s have been diving out of the sun all day, tearing ships apart. The nerves of every gunner, every lookout, every captain down there are pulled tight as piano wire. They are exhausted, jumpy, and terrified. They see phantoms in every cloud. They have been conditioned to react to sound with lethal force. The pilots in the air believe in the plan. According to the briefing General Ridgway gave them, this is the safety corridor. A 2-mile-wide path in the sky where every ship below has been strictly ordered. Hold fire. Friendly aircraft approaching. It is supposed to be a sanctuary. In the cargo hold of Miller's plane, the atmosphere is heavy. 18 paratroopers sit facing each other on 2 long aluminum benches. The red light by the door casts a bloody hue over their faces. They check their reserves, their knives, their photos of sweethearts back home. The jumpmaster, a scar-faced sergeant named Kowalski, stands up. He balances effortlessly against the swaying of the plane. He checks the static line cable for the 100th time. He walks up the fuselage toward the cockpit, his boots clanging softly. He catches Miller's eye in the rearview mirror. "Hey, Captain," Kowalski says, his voice rough. "Get us there in one piece, yeah? My mama will kill me if I die before I pay her back for the car." Miller manages a weak smile. "You got it, Sarge. Smooth ride all the way." Kowalski grins, a flash of white teeth in the red gloom, and gives a thumbs up. A gesture of absolute, unshakable trust. "We are in your hands, Captain." Miller nods back. The formation is precise. Sea mist rises from the warm water, slightly fogging the windshield, forcing Miller to use the wipers for a second. Miller's heart beats slow, but heavy, each thud echoing against his ribs like a drum. 10 minutes to the drop zone. But beneath that black water, on the deck of the destroyer USS Jeffers, a 19-year-old gunner's mate named Mike stands strapped into his Oerlikon 20mm cannon mount. He hasn't slept in 30 hours. His eyes are stinging from salt spray. He is vibrating with caffeine and terror. He hears the drone of engines. Low, heavy, multi-engine. To his exhausted brain, that sound doesn't sound like liberation. It sounds like the Ju-88 bombers that killed his friends yesterday. His finger rests on the trigger. It trembles just a fraction of an inch. A twitch caused by fear, not malice. 2240 hours. The silence shatters. Not with a bang, but with a dry, ripping sound. Thwack, 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 thwack. A single stream of red tracers tears through the night from the water's surface. It arcs upward, searching for prey in the black void. It is beautiful in a grotesque way. Incandescent red lines drawing geometry against the stars. It misses the left wing of the lead C-47 in Miller's formation by less than 30 feet, sizzling through the damp air. In the cockpit, Miller flinches, his pupils contracting instantly to pinpoints. "What the hell?" Evans yells, dropping his map. "We are in the corridor! Check the coordinates! We have to be drifting!" "Oh, we aren't drifting!" Miller snaps, checking the compass with frantic intensity. "We are dead on the line! Heading 270, exactly! Look at the gyro!" "German flak? E-boats?" Evans asks, his voice trembling as he presses his face against the plexiglass. No. Miller whispers, the blood draining from his face. "That's not 88 millimeters. That's red. That's 20 millimeter. That's Navy. That's our boys. Oh God, that's our boys." Below, that single shot acts as a catalyst. It is the match thrown into a gasoline depot. On a nearby Liberty ship, a nervous gunner sees the destroyer open fire. His logic collapses under the weight of instinct. If the destroyer is firing, there must be enemies. If I don't fire, I die. He stomps on his firing pedal. His twin 50 caliber machine guns roar to life, spitting flame and brass casings. Then the third ship. Then the cruiser. The panic spreads like a virus. Within 15 seconds, the entire American fleet, over 50 warships, erupts. They fire blindly into the sky. Bandits! Bandits overhead! The fleet radio channel dissolves into chaos. It is a cacophony of screaming, cursing, and static. The Sicilian night instantly turns into day. But it is a lethal, strobe light day. Thousands of tracers, red, white, green, weave a mesh of fire so dense it looks like a solid ceiling of light. And the C-47s, slow, low-flying, unarmored transport planes, are right in the eye of the storm. "Radio them! Tell them to stop! Tell them it's us!" Miller roars over the screaming engines. Evans grabs the microphone, his knuckles white. "Emergency code. This is Troop Carrier Wing 52. We are friendly. I repeat, friendly. Check fire. Check fire. God damn it, stop!" Their plea is answered by a 5-inch naval shell detonating right off the nose. The shockwave tosses the 16-ton Dakota like a paper boat. Shrapnel hails against the fuselage like gravel thrown against a tin roof. The plexiglass side window cracks with a sharp snap, spiderwebbing but holding. Miller clenches his teeth. Cold sweat breaks out instantly on the back of his neck. He looks to his right wing, checking his wingman. C-47 number 42, flown by Lieutenant Peterson, a man Miller played poker with 2 nights ago, takes a direct hit. A 40mm Bofors shell impacts the left wing fuel tank. There is no cinematic explosion. It isn't like the movies, just a sudden, silent bloom of orange fire. The fire swallows the entire plane in a heartbeat. The aluminum melts, dripping like wax. The plane rolls onto its back, shedding burning parts, and dives into the sea. Miller watches it hit the water, a geyser of steam and fire. No chutes. No chance. 18 men and a flight crew. Gone in 2 seconds. Oh, God! Pete! Evans whispers, his face drained of all color. Tears well up in his eyes, but he doesn't wipe them away. Fear screams at Miller to climb, to run. Get away. Save yourself. But reason screams back. Climb, and you're radar bait. Dive, and you hit a mast. Duty locks his hands on the controls. Hold formation. If we scatter, we collide. Keep the heading. But there is no formation left. The river of metal has become a slaughterhouse. Hell has no order. Hell is pure chaos. The lumbering C-47 Goonie birds try to thread the needle through the wall of fire. They are whales trying to dodge harpoons. Some pilots, in desperation, kill their navigation lights, hoping the darkness will hide them. Others, following their training manuals to the letter, flip on their amber recognition lights to signal friendly. It is a fatal mistake. To the gunners below, the amber lights don't mean friend. In their panic, the amber lights look like flares dropping from bombers to mark targets. The headset in Miller's ear explodes with overlapping voices. It isn't just his fight anymore. It is a symphony of destruction. This is the fog of war, a cacophony where logic goes to die. Formation broken. Breaking left. Breaking left. I'm burning. Engine 1 is burning. Bail out. Bail out. Chalk 4 is down. Chalk 4 is... They're shooting at us. Why are they shooting at us? Stop shooting. You're hitting us. Stop shooting. Miller tries to tune it out, but the voices claw at his brain. Every scream is a man he knows. Down on the water, on the destroyer USS Jeffers, gunner's mate Mike Kowalski clings to his Oerlikon. The vibration of the gun shakes his entire skeleton. His eyes sting from the acrid cordite smoke. He sees a flashing yellow light in the sky above him. They're dropping flares. They're gonna bomb. Take it down! A frantic officer screams in his ear. Take it down! Take it down! Kowalski doesn't think. He doesn't analyze. Terror hijacks his brain. He swings the heavy turret, tracking the amber light. Die, you bastards! He screams, spitting foam, and squeezes the trigger. The gun bucks against his shoulder, spewing death. On board Miller's C-47, the floor shudders violently. A hole the size of a fist punches through the floor directly beneath Miller's seat, missing his leg by inches. The smell of burning aluminum, hydraulic fluid, and gunpowder floods the cockpit instantly. We're hit! Number 2 losing pressure. Oil pressure dropping. Evans reports, his hands flying over the fire suppression switches. Miller looks out the left window. Engine number 2 is coughing thick black smoke. The propeller is still turning, but it's vibrating violently. Worse, he sees the source of the fire. Directly below, less than 300 yards away, an American warship is steaming at full speed. Every gun on its deck is pointed up. The muzzle flashes strobe like a disco of death. The irony hits Miller like a physical blow. Those flags, those guns, built in Detroit and Pittsburgh, were made to protect him. Now, they are tearing him apart. In the back, the iron discipline of the 82nd Airborne cracks. A 20mm round rips through the fuselage, severing the leg of Private First Class Rossi, a young kid from the Bronx. His scream is drowned out by the engine roar, but blood sprays across the anti-slip floor. The jumpmaster lunges forward, slipping on the blood, trying to apply a tourniquet. He looks up toward the cockpit, his eyes no longer holding trust. They hold panic. He shouts, "Let us jump, or put us down! Don't let us die like rats in a metal box!" Miller wants to scream back, "You can't jump! You'll be cut to ribbons before your chutes open!" "Skipper, 3 o'clock, watch out!" Evans screams. Another C-47, trailing a comet tail of fire, is careening diagonally through their formation. It cuts across Miller's nose, missing by inches, close enough that Miller can see the pilot inside, beating his hands desperately against the flame-filled windshield. The heat from the burning plane slaps against Miller's glass. The doomed plane slams into the sea just ahead of them, creating a massive geyser of water and fire. The shockwave banks Miller's plane 45 degrees to the left. "I can't hold it," Miller roars, his biceps straining. "We have to get out of this fire. We can't stay here." But go where? Up is death. Down is death. Miller realizes a horrifying truth. IFF signals are useless. The amber lights are useless. The radio is useless. They are alone in a sky full of friends trying to kill them. The fear in Miller shifts into a strange stillness, the dissociation of a man who has accepted death. A part of him wants to let go of the yoke, wants to close his eyes. Why try? Why fight when your own side wants to kill you? It's hopeless. But his brain is still processing. If I climb, the radar guns get me. If I turn back, I hit the second wave. Then he feels the vibration of the plane. He feels the weight of the 18 souls. Rossi bleeding out. Kowalski praying. They don't have a yoke. They only have him. He is their only god in this machine. "Evans, kill the lights!" Miller orders, his voice ice cold. "But regulations say we have to keep them on." Evans stammers. "Regulations killed Peterson. Kill the damn lights." Evans flips the switch. The amber lights die. The plane plunges into darkness, lit only by the ghostly green of the dash, and the muzzle flashes. Miller checks the altimeter. 300 feet. Dropping. "We have 2 choices," he says fast. 1. We climb into the heavy 5-inch flak. 2. We go down. Down? Evans stares at him. Into the water?
Deck level?
Deck level, Miller says, gripping the yoke. Under the radar sweep, we fly between the ships. It is insanity, flying a heavy transport through a firing fleet at 50 feet. One slip, one wave, or a mast will tear them apart. Miller hesitates for a heartbeat. An image of his wife, Sarah, flashes in his mind. I promised I'd come back. Then the image of Rossi's severed leg. I promised I'd get them there. We're dead anyway, Miller whispers, tasting copper. Better to die by my hand than be target practice. He pushes the yoke forward. The nose of the C-47 drops toward the Black Sea. The C-47, riddled with holes, noses down into the abyss. The engines roar in protest as the airspeed spikes. Gravity presses Miller into his seat. 400 feet? 300 feet? 100 feet? The water rushes up. In the cargo hold, Private Rossi lies on the vibrating floor. The pain is a distant white noise. Terror is the only reality. He feels the plane drop. His stomach lurches. Through a jagged bullet hole in the wall next to his face, he sees the world outside. It isn't sky. It is steel. "Pull up! Tom, pull up!"
Pull up!
Evans screams. Miller yanks the yoke back. The plane levels out, belly skimming 50 feet above the Whitecaps. They are flying inside the fleet. Time seems to freeze. Miller looks left. A towering wall of gray steel rushes past at 140 miles per hour. The hull of an American destroyer fills the view. It is immense. Through the bullet hole, Rossi sees the welding seams on the hull. He sees the barnacles. He is so close, he feels he could touch the cold, wet steel. Ideally, he should pray. Instead, he just stares. Sea spray and gunsmoke mix, creating a surreal mist. A searchlight from the ship sweeps across the cockpit, blinding Miller with hot white light. Miller holds his breath. He feels every vibration of the airframe, groaning near its breaking point. For a split second, he locks eyes with the gunner on the deck, mouth open in shock. A strange connection. Both terrified, both trapped. The C-47 clears the bow. A burst from the stern gun grazes the tail. Crack! Lost tail control. Rudder is sluggish, Evans reports. The plane yaws violently right. Miller stomps on the rudder pedal, fighting the spin. Come on, baby. Hold it together, he begs, sweat stinging his eyes. They clear the last ship. Ahead lies the darkness of Sicily. No more warships, no more wall of fire, only scattered flak from the land. They have escaped the safety corridor. Miller exhales a long, shuddering breath. His hands shake so violently he has to grip his knee to stop the trembling. But the price has not yet been paid. Miller nurses the wounded bird inland. Engine 2 is dead. Engine 1 is overheating. Hydraulics gone. We can't make the DZ going down, Miller says, his voice raspy. Look for a field. There. Evans points to a dark patch of scrubland. Brace for impact. Brace. The landing is brutal. The C-47 hits the ground at 90 miles per hour. It bounces once, hard, snapping the landing gear struts like dry twigs. Then it belly flops, grinding on stone. The sound of metal tearing is deafening. The left wing snaps off. The fuselage slews sideways, plowing through olive trees and stone walls, throwing up dust and sparks. Then, finally, it stops. Silence rushes in. It isn't peaceful. It is a heavy, ringing silence. The wind whistles softly through the torn fuselage. Status?
I'm okay.
Miller stumbles up, forehead bleeding. I'm okay?
My arm!
Evans groans. Arms broken. Miller kicks open the jammed door. Everyone out. Fire risk. Move! The cargo hold is a nightmare. Red light flickers. The smell of blood mixes with leaking fuel. Kowalski is cutting men out of harnesses. "Get Rossi! He's pinned!" Miller helps lift Rossi. The boy is pale as wax. I can't feel my toes, Cap. Rossi whispers. "You're okay. We made it." Miller lies, lifting him. They scramble out, collapsing in a dry ditch 50 yards away. Miller waits for the explosion. But it doesn't come. The plane just sits there, broken, steam rising like a dying beast. Miller looks back toward the sea. Far out, the sky is still lit by tracers. The fleet is still firing. Shooting at what? There is nothing there. No Germans. Only wreckage and bodies. A young paratrooper, covered in soot, limps up. He stares at the sea. He doesn't cry. He spits a mouthful of bloody saliva onto the earth. "Bastards," he whispers, voice trembling with rage. "The dirty, stupid bastards. They killed us. Our own guys." Miller wants to defend them, to explain the fear. But words choke in his throat. He just stands there, shivering in the warm night, watching the deadly fireworks of his own side, feeling an infinite emptiness. That night, the troop carrier wing lost 23 planes. 37 others were heavily damaged. 318 paratroopers and pilots were killed or wounded, most by Allied fire. They call it friendly fire, the most ironic term ever invented. There is nothing friendly about a 20mm shell. It tears flesh just the same as a German one. I survived. I flew D-Day, then Market Garden. I saw the cruelty of the SS. I saw the desperation of the Luftwaffe. But the deepest scar is on my soul. It's the loss of trust. Years later, in 1955, I met a man in a Chicago bar. His name was Mike. He was quiet, hands shaking as he held his beer. He had been a gunner's mate on the USS Jeffers. The air froze. The noise of the bar faded. When he found out I was a pilot over Gela, the blood drained from his face. His hand, the hand that squeezed the trigger, started to shake, spilling bombers. Beer. I thought you were bombers. He stammered, eyes tearing up.
Shoot anything low.
They told us, shoot anything low. I saw the amber light. I thought it was a flare. I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I looked into the eyes of that former enemy, that brother. I saw the same haunting I carried. He hadn't slept well since that night either. He saw the amber lights in his nightmares too. I regret I couldn't protect Peterson. I wonder if I could have saved Rossi's leg. The smell of burning aluminum still lingers whenever I see amber light. But looking at Mike, I realized if I blamed him, I would have to blame myself for every mistake I ever made. If I hated him, I would drown in that hate. I put my hand on his trembling shoulder.
It was war.
It was war, Mike, I said, voice steady. None of us knew what we were shooting at in the dark. You did your job. It was a lie. We should have known. But it was a necessary lie. A mercy. So both of us could live without putting a gun in our mouths. Because courage isn't just flying into a wall of fire. Sometimes the hardest courage is forgiving the hand that pulled the trigger on you.